have seen a roundabout before. They're all over the place. Even though you don't drive, you will have crossed a road near one or been round one in the car. Roundabouts haven't always existed. The first roundabout in the UK was built in 1909, over 100 years ago. But when they were first introduced, there weren't any rules about how to use them. Vehicles often crashed and busy times of traffic were completely jammed. Then in 1966, a new rule was introduced in Britain. Cars had to slow down and give way to traffic approaching from the right. When you're travelling in a car or running across the playground, there's almost always somebody going in a different direction. If we don't want to crash, we need to be careful. It's the same with decisions, attitudes and personal opinions. They usually have an impact on others. So whenever we meet other people, especially if they seem different to us, it's a good idea to slow down and think what we say and do. When it comes to cars, the rules are written down in black and white, with colour pictures too, in a book called the Highway Code. They seem pretty simple once you know them, but on the road it can sometimes be a little more grey. When several cars get to a roundabout at the same time, who goes first? First person to arrive, I suppose. But what if you all stopped and no one knows who got there first? This happens a lot in the little town where I live, at least outside of rush hour. When I was in London, however, it was a different story. There, everyone seems to be in a hurry all the time. It's more like a race to see who can get there first, a game of chicken. The rule seems to be the fastest goes first, or the person with the biggest car.
I'm the biggest, I go first. Hey, I'm the coolest, I go first. I'm the cutest, I get out of there first.
Sometimes it seems like one solid stream of cars is coming from your right and there is no chance to go. A bit like when someone just keeps on talking and you feel like you will never be heard.
I'm the loudest, I'm gonna go first.
How about when it comes to the way we treat other people? School children don't drive cars. As humans, we are very good at making up rules that suit ourselves, giving explanations for why we're right, making excuses. When we make up our own rules though, they might seem good for us, but they're not always good for others. Sometimes people are treated differently, unfairly because of things like the colour of their skin, where they were born, how they speak. This is called discrimination, and it's wrong. In the UK we have what's called the Equality Act to make sure that the same rules apply to everyone, that we all get the same treatment and the same opportunities. Even so, people from some minority groups have often felt like they are not heard, like a car waiting to pull out at a roundabout when no one else is slowing down. Or worse, sometimes they felt like they are being deliberately pushed off the road by thoughtless, selfish or angry drivers.
Okay everyone, time for your quiz today. I hope you've got your brains with you. That's the essential part of this quiz, but you also do need a piece of paper. So teachers, if you've got a moment to pass those out, if you haven't already, maybe pause the video to do that in a second. You're also going to need a pen or a pencil, everyone, because this is a multiple choice. There's 5 questions and I want you to write 1 to 5, and for each of 1 to 5 you're going to have to give me an A, a B, a C or a D for the answer. So, are we ready for the quiz? Number 1, which of the following is not a type of apple? A, Gala, B, Cox, C, Jazz, D, Granny Moller. Question number 2. Which of the following is not a famous scientist? A, Isaac Newton. B, Marie Curie. C, Albert Einstein. Or D, Emmeline Pankhurst. And question number 3. Which of the following is not a type of tree? A, peony. B, ash. C, oak. D, Acer. Question number 4. Which of the following athletes is not famous for running? A, Mo Farah. B, Owen Farrell. C, Dina Asher Smith. D.
Serena Williams.
And finally, question number 5. Which of the following is not a type of flower? A. Rose. B. Pink lady. C. Daffodil. And D. Freesia. Okay then, now I need to introduce you to the scoring system here. You're going to get 1 point obviously for each of your right answers, but we're going to use our bodies to do the scoring. So this is how it's going to work. So when you get 1 point, that means you can stand up. 2 points, one arm. 3 points, the other arm. 4 points, arm up in the air. 5 points, both arms up in the air. Okay, got that? Great. Let's give it a go.
All right, everyone, it's time for your answers. And don't forget, if you get it right, then you have to use our scoring system. So number 1, which of the following is not a type of apple? The answer is D, Granny Moller. Granny Smith seems to have changed her name. So any of you got that right? You know what you got to do? You've got to stand up. Number 2, which of the following scientist is not a which of the following is not a famous scientist? And the answer again is D, Emmeline Pankhurst. Votes for women, that's what she's famous for. That means some of you have now got a hand on your waist, I hope. Number 3, which of the following is not a type of tree? The answer is A, a peony is not a type of tree. Some of you might now have 2 arms out on your waist. And number 4, which of the following athletes is not famous for running? D is the answer, Serena Williams, the famous tennis player. Some of you got an arm up in the air yet. Which of the following is not a type of flower? Number 5, the answer is B. Pink lady is actually a type of apple, not a type of flower. Have some of you got both arms up in the air now? I expect so.
Guys, just realised I've forgotten a vital thing. So I know some of you are probably standing up here like this, hands in the air and all, but if you've got blue eyes, I'm afraid you've got to take 1 point off, please. So everyone with blue eyes, 1 point off, thank you. Those of you that are not wearing glasses, 1 point off, please. Thank you very much. If your shoes are done up with Velcro, sorry, 1 point off for you too. And I'm afraid to say, if you're a boy, it's another point off. So let's have a look at the final scores then. Is there anybody still on their feet with their arms in the air? Who's the winner in your class? Give them a clap. Well done, everybody, for that wonderful quiz. Oh, what's that I hear? Somebody saying it's not fair. Not fair? What do you mean?
There are rules all around us, meant to help us get on with what we need to do without getting into too much trouble. But often, what seems simple can become a little more complicated when we try to live it out. The more you think about it, the more rules there are. Are some more important than others? At the moment, it seems like rules keep changing, and this can get quite confusing. What about when some rules just seem unfair or confusing? If only there was one master rule to sum them up.
Once upon a time, there was a traveller on a road. I like walking down the road. It is very nice on the road. Suddenly, a gang of robbers appeared. Hand over your money, son. Well, what's it gonna be?
In the last Spinnaker Assembly, on skin, we told the story of the Good Samaritan. In Jesus' time, people had many religious laws that helped them to know how to behave in almost every situation. But unsurprisingly, they didn't always find them easy to follow. When they asked Jesus about this, he reminded them of what the scriptures say. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul and with all your mind. That's the greatest and most important of all rules. The second and most important is like this: to love your neighbour as you love yourself.
hundreds and hundreds of years, the purple people and the green people had always been against each other. They couldn't even say hi to each other on the street, and they were always at war. You're rubbish! No, you're rubbish! Attack! So when the traveller saw a purple person coming down the road, it was only natural that he thought, "Oh no, he's not going to help me. He's probably more likely to kick me than anything." But the purple person just looked at him and saw that he was suffering and picked him up.
Later, one of Jesus' friends wrote, "If you love others, you will never do them wrong. To love, then, is to obey the whole law. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: you shall love your neighbour as yourself." I find it fairly easy to be nice when I'm not in a hurry, when I'm relaxed, but the challenge is to look out for, to prioritise, and to love others, even when it might not be convenient to us, and no matter who they may be. Who is our neighbour? The nearest person who needs our help, whoever they may be. The simple rule, "give way to your right," is intended to keep traffic moving and to avoid accidents and traffic jams. As polite and typically English as it may seem, sitting around in a roundabout saying, "No, no, you go," will only mean that everybody gets stuck, and some folks behind are likely to get cross, in just the same way as rushing ahead and hooting our horn, taking our space by speed and sound, does not usually end well either. In life as in roundabouts, we do better to slow down, to give our space to our neighbour, the ones right next to us. It's their right of way. Sometimes this might mean taking your stand by holding up those behind, even if they're in a hurry. One of the best ways to make a difference is to set an example. Showing kindness to others, especially when they don't expect it, makes a massive difference. I've found that when I'm driving, if I stop or slow down to let somebody in front of me, they almost always do the same for somebody else soon after. Next time you're in a car, ask the driver to give it a try. Written laws can make people change their behaviour, but changing attitudes is a lot harder.
Dear God, thank you for a world in which we can each make choices about where we go and how we get there. I pray that as we travel through life, our hearts would be open towards others and full of wonder at how we are all uniquely and beautifully made. May we be humble enough to slow down, give way, ask for directions when needed, and offer help where we can. Amen.